story. There was like a director who will remain nameless told, like, just for a practical joke, told this actress who was also starting out that she had to do a nude scene, an animated nude scene. The character, and he just for fun said to her, "Excuse me, the property of voice, the dynamics of the audio sounds different from when you're nude from when you're clothed." So would you mind taking off your shirt, please? And she's like, okay. I was like,
so you're saying that in California and in Texas, when you're in the booth, you're clothed? In Canada, I was told that you get clothing noise. So you check your clothes at the door, and they go, oh, somebody's getting a strongly worded letter. Yeah, let's.
But he did not tell her to take off that. So let's get. Okay, you in the back with the shades.
Yeah, I have a question on which do you think would be harder to do, video game voice acting or anime voice acting?
Well, it's like, it's not necessarily harder, it's just different the way it's done. Especially video games. Anime, I think no matter where you are, there's a certain consistency is how it's done. I mean, you understand you start at the beginning, you end at the end. It's all linear progression as you go along with the storyline. So you know where your character is and where it's developing, where it's evolving. And as actors, you can sort of see where you can see how the story arc is affecting the character. In video games, it's a lot of it is non-linear progression. Not only in terms of like RPGs where you can branch off in different directions, but in the way the order how they record things. It's like, okay, we're going to start on the storyline stuff, and then we have the in-game event interaction stuff, and then we have the battle stuff. It's like, and they're all basically different parts throughout the game. They can just jump all over the place. So the actors don't necessarily know where their character is within the game itself or the story itself. So it's up to the directors or the producers to really explain, okay, this part is taking place after you've done this, or if you did this, or what if you happen to do that. So the differences are, I think it may be a little hard on the actor in terms of knowing where they are in the story itself and trying to figure out where their voice is for the character.
And that does happen with some anime series too, because you're bringing in one actor at a time, you're jumping from line to line. You're not hearing everybody else's line unless they're directly around your dialogue, and if they've already been in previously to you to record. So that's when we really rely on our directors, and sometimes when we have clients with us, to really help us understand what exactly is going on, because sometimes anime shows can get a little zany.
Right, you jump like, you're watching it, but the actor is like, maybe they're going to do a couple lines and they're going to jump 10 minutes ahead into the storyline. And they don't know that basically there was a huge epic battle and somebody died just between the time and that's what the director has to do, is fill in the blanks. Let them know, okay, between here and there, your brother died, and your sister is in a coma. so you should be happy. So that happiness that you had in the last day, not gonna work.
Okay, so there was a question here, yes, and we're gonna come over to you because you've had your arm up for forever. But,
do you prefer sitting or standing when you do your voice acting?
I like to lie down. I personally cannot sit. I have to stand. Because it's just, and you know what, it doesn't matter how long my session is. I know some actors, it'll depend on how long they're going to be in there for. If they're going to be in there for a short time, it's a big deal. If they're doing a full day session, they'll sit. I can't do it. I find that I can't get into it if I'm sitting. I don't know, that's a good question actually. What do you think?
I definitely prefer standing. I tried sitting, and I get a totally different, I can't move, you can't really get into character as much, unless your character just sits there all the time. In which case, maybe that would work. But
I can also affect how your diaphragm works when you're acting.
There are actors who I've dealt with that will do an entire session sitting from a chair, and they do perfect work no matter what. And there are actors I know who will prefer to stand throughout the whole session and do great work. And there are actors who I know who will, as I said, they will, for varying degrees, they'll sit and they'll stand, which becomes a very annoying thing because we have to adjust the microphone every time they do that. But there are people that if they sit and then their energy levels go down, and if it's not like a casual line of dialogue, they really have to be active and emotive on the whole thing. It totally can change the dynamic, the fact that they're sitting. It does create, whether it's a mental thing or it's a physical thing, it can have an effect on them. Sometimes they'll say, you need to stand up for that line.
And for me, I think I'm just not a good enough actor to act like I'm not sitting down. So I'll just stand. It's easier. Easier for performance.
So you had your hand up.
Actually, I had specific questions for each of you. For Jennifer, I was wondering, because of the economy, is the industry in Texas working out? Is it getting slowly bigger? Is it just at a standstill?
I don't know, I'm not there anymore.
I can answer some of that for you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll talk about LA and California. If you're going to ask us the same questions for Canada and LA.
No, it's different questions for each.
Okay, well, it is a good question, though, in terms of how the economy is affecting our different regions. I can't speak on the whole, but many of you obviously know that AD Vision is not the company it was a few years ago. And they are producing some stuff there, but there was a large contingency of voice actors in the Houston area who completely went out of work, and either they decided after that happened to either get work in other different fields, whether acting in other things or doing other jobs, or they decided to make the exodus to Dallas to work for Funimation, and actresses like Monica Rial and Greg Ayers, although they were already working for Funny at that time, but they made the permanent move over up to Dallas basically to have consistent work and still work in anime. But yes, there's a lot less work out there all over. California was hit even worse with regards to anime because they lost Jenny on 2 years ago, and that was a big hit for us. Bondi is very much sort of slowing down their production. They release less titles, but half the titles, or more than half the titles, are subtitle-only titles. So there's a lot less work, and there's still a lot of actors there. So it's like you have now a lot more people fighting for less work, especially in voice acting. But on the other hand, there's a lot of video game work too coming into LA, so that helps offshoot the stuff. But there are studios that have had a harder time because there's been less anime work, and actors. It was, for some people, it was feast or famine. Viz, I know Viz works with Canada, Viz works with LA. They're still the only major company in California right now that's really producing a lot of anime. And even that, it's more like they have shows that have a lot of episodes. Naruto and Bleach. And I know what they do, Hunter x Hunter up there, or Honey and Clover. Yeah, but I mean, they do have shows that they're still setting up to Canada, but it's definitely overall just the industry itself is having a slowdown period. Funimation does have work, and I mean, have new titles, but maybe they don't have as many titles as we had 2 years ago when there was this. Everybody thought the industry was going strong. It was only going to get bigger. We're not going to go into the why did the industry collapse and the recriminations and pointing fingers at whatever. That's not the issue here. The issue is that basically, like the economy, it's restructuring, and it definitely is having an impact on everybody in the business, whether you're an actor or director or producer or studio. It's at least from I know from the Texas and the California perspective, it is having. I've had friends at Funny who were steady directors doing lots of work. They called me up and said, dude, I'm not going to have any directing work for a long time now. They don't have enough shows for me. If you have any work, I'm happy to come out to California and work for you. So tell me how everything's in Canada. Is it a candy colored paradise?